The private investigator's report about my wife was 41 pages long, and I did not pay for one page of it. It came by certified mail, yellow envelope, stiff cardboard back, no note inside. Page 6 was my wife. By the end of this story, that report cost her the alimony, the studio she built with our money, and the man she built it with, and the person who paid $6,000 to have it made was a stranger to me. The order of it matters, so I am going to give it to you in order. 18 years married. I run the service department at a marina on the coast, 9 mechanics under me, diesel and outboard, 7 days a week all summer. My wife spent most of the marriage in medical device sales, hospitals, clinics, a company car, quarterly numbers. Our son left for a state school up north to August before all of this started, paid ahead through a plan we began when he was 4. The week after we dropped him off, my wife sat me down and said she was done selling for other people. She wanted to open a wellness studio with a business partner, a guy who ran 2 gyms inland and knew the industry. She had the space picked out already. A storefront 2 blocks off the beach highway, high ceilings, parking. I asked what it cost to get in. $48,000, her half of the build out. A business line of credit the bank would only write against our house, with my name on it as guarantor. I signed. She cried in the truck outside the bank, happy crying. For about a year, I believed I had done the best thing of our marriage. Hold on to that bank paperwork. It is the exact thing that buries her at the end. The studio opened that fall with a ribbon, 100 people, and her first name in pink neon script above the front desk. Classes in the morning, memberships, a juice cooler, retail shelves with leggings and supplements. Her business partner handled what she called the back of the house, vendors, the books, payroll for the 4 girls at the desk. She handled the front. The clients loved her. I would stop in on a weekend and watch her work a room and feel lucky. The first year, the studio covered its own rent. Everyone called that a win for a new business. The second year is when my wife started being gone all the time, with a reason ready every time. Inventory nights. The first of the month, then twice a month, then more. Supplier meetings in the city, 90 minutes each way, scheduled at 7 at night. A trade expo in the spring that she almost did not mention until the weekend she left for it. None of it looked criminal to me then. It looked exactly how she explained it. A small business eating my wife alive. Some of those nights I carried her coffee out to the car and told her I was proud of her. That part is embarrassing now. I was not suspicious. I was helpful. The certified envelope ended all of that in about 90 seconds. It was addressed to me, my full legal name at our house. Inside was a bound stack with a cover page on heavy paper, an investigations firm from an hour inland, a case number and a notarized cover sheet, and one line, centered alone, released at the direction of the client. No client name anywhere in 41 pages. I checked that twice before I looked at anything else. Page 1 was a retainer summary. Page 2 was a subject profile, and the subject was not my wife. The subject was her business partner, home address, vehicles, his gym schedule, his wife's name blacked out with a marker. I stood at the dining table trying to understand why a stranger's surveillance file had my name on the envelope. Then I got to page 6, where the photo started. The first time-stamped photo was my wife's car parked behind the studio at 9:41 on a night she was supposed to be counting inventory. The next photo was the studio's back door, propped open under the alley light, taken from the public alley. 2 people in the doorway. You could not pretend either one was anyone else. 22 more photos followed, 4 months of nights, each one stamped down to the minute. Then the photos left the studio, a hotel off the interstate, the kind with a breakfast bar. his truck and her car in the same frame, timestamps 3 hours apart, 6 separate dates. After the photos came a receipt appendix, room invoices, paid every time on the same card. The card was the studio's business credit card. Whoever the client was, their investigator had run down every last piece of it. My wife was cheating on me with her business partner, and the studio I mortgaged my house for was paying for their rooms. I went through all 41 pages, standing at the dining table. Then I went through them again in a chair. The second time through, I quit feeling it and started adding it up. $1,450 a month. That number was on page 33. It sat in a bank summary the investigator had assembled from public filings, and from a vendor lawsuit the studio lost that spring. A recurring transfer out of the studio account, listed as a supplier payment. The supplier was a wellness wholesaler that did not exist anywhere the investigator looked. 19 straight months of it. The wholesaler's mailing address was a box at a shipping store 4 minutes from the hotel with the breakfast bar. Page 23 was the one I kept coming back to. Page 23 was a table, 2 columns, 36 rows, where she said she was, where the car actually sat, inventory count, and the hotel, supplier dinner, and the same hotel, her college roommate's birthday weekend, and that hotel again, 2 nights. The investigator had set her alibis against her license plate, row after row. Not one of them matched. The hotel appendix added up too. $27,300 across those 19 months. Rooms, room service, twice a spa charge, all of it on the studio's card. Our studio, the one the bank owns, a piece of my house over. Now comes the part that decided the whole case. It is the part where I did nothing. I did not confront her that night or that week. She came home at 10:40 from an inventory night. I had slid the report back into its envelope an hour before. She kissed the top of my head, said the count ran long, and took her shower. I said the shrimp boats were loud at the marina today. That was our whole conversation. I was not saying one word to her until I knew exactly what I was going to do about it. The next morning, I called in a personal day, my first in 3 years. I drove an hour inland to the investigations firm on the cover page. The man at the desk was retired law enforcement. You could tell by the handshake and the haircut. He would not tell me who the client was. I expected that. But once I showed my ID and the envelope, he told me something better. The client had authorized the release of the full file to me, by name, as a condition of hiring the firm. His exact words: some clients want the other household to know, some do not. This one did. I asked him if the file would survive a courtroom. He said every page was shot from public property, pulled from a public filing, or produced under subpoena in a civil matter. Then he said the sentence I chewed on the whole drive home: whoever you hire next does not have to find anything. They just have to check my work. So that is exactly what I bought. The following day, I hired a divorce attorney in the next city over. A quiet woman with reading glasses on a chain, 30 years of coastal divorces behind her. She turned the report's pages for 20 minutes without her face moving once. Then she squared the stack and said 2 words: fault state. She walked me through it slow, item by item, no drama. In this state, adultery is not just a reason to be sad. It is a ground. It goes on the filing, and once it is proven, it follows a spouse into every money conversation the court has. Alimony first. A spouse whose adultery ends the marriage can be barred from support here. Not trimmed, barred. Then the property split. This state's judges walk a written list of factors when they divide an estate. One of those factors, by name, is what each spouse did with the marriage's money. Spending marital funds on an affair has its own word: dissipation. She put her finger on page 33. Every fake supplier payment and every hotel room on this page is dissipation, she said. By the time the accountant is finished, the court will hand your wife the bill for all of it. Then she told me to go home, change nothing, and let my wife keep lying to me for 6 more weeks while the forensic accountant worked in the dark. Those 6 weeks were the hardest work of the entire divorce. Not the report, the acting. She scheduled our anniversary dinner in week 2. Her idea, a white tablecloth place on the water. She raised her glass and toasted us and the studio. The 2 best decisions of her life. Her words in that order. I clinked. I ate the redfish. I paid. The studio's holiday party landed that same week. Fairy lights, Prosecco in plastic cups. I went because the man I was pretending to be would have gone. Her business partner worked the room in a golf shirt and told me the second location was going to change their lives. Then he shook my hand. I shook it back and ran a number in my head while I did it. 27,300. His wife was not there. Family thing, he said. I know now she was an hour inland, reading her own copy of the same 41 pages I had locked in my toolbox at the marina. In week 3, she left for a second trade expo. This time, I walked out to her car before she loaded it and took a photo of the odometer. 4 days later, I took another one. Her expo was supposed to be 400 miles round trip. The car had gone 61. I sent both photos to the accountant, who wrote back one word, received. In week 4, our son called on speaker for his birthday. She narrated the studio's success to him for 10 minutes. New class packages, a wait list, maybe a second location. The second location. She was pitching an expansion of the thing that was paying for the hotel rooms to our son on his birthday. In week 5, she asked, over pot roast, whether I had done something different with my hair. That is the closest my wife came in 19 months to noticing the man across from her had changed. Week 6 closed with one more piece of luck I did nothing to earn. The vendor that beat the studio in court that spring served a garnishment on the studio's bank, which meant nobody could quietly drain the account before our accountant photographed every page of its history. The accountant's spreadsheet landed that week, 40 pages longer than the investigator's report, and it agreed with every line. And it found the jet ski, $61,400 total, transfers, hotels, and a jet ski he kept at his lake place paid for out of studio money. I fix marine engines for a living. My wife bought her boyfriend a jet ski with the equity in my house. The forensic file also answered how we were allowed inside the studio's real books at all. My name was on the studio's credit line as guarantor, and the guarantee's fine print said the studio had to furnish its financial statements to the guarantor on request. My lawyer requested. The signature she cried happy tears over is the one that opened every ledger the studio had. Without my name on that credit line, nobody ever gets inside those books. My lawyer filed at the end of that week. Adultery as the ground. Dissipation itemized to the dollar. The report attached as an exhibit with a sworn affidavit from the firm behind it. My wife was served at the studio at 4:15 that afternoon. A man with a clipboard waited politely while she finished demonstrating a stretch band in front of the 4 o'clock class. I am told she walked into the office, shut the door, and never taught another class there. She called me 14 times on the drive home. I did not answer. Everything I had to say was already filed. Before she made it home that night, my lawyer's checklist was already done. My paycheck rerouted to an account in my name only. Half the savings moved to the dollar into that same new account. Every cent logged, her half untouched. Copies of the report, the spreadsheet, and a decade of tax returns in a firebox at my sister's place, 20 minutes away. Nothing hidden, nothing moved. that a court would frown at. Just everything locked down and logged before the fight started. The version of her that came through our door that evening was one I had not met in 18 years. Not crying, furious. Her plan had a hole in it now, and she knew it. I had humiliated her in front of her clients, in her own business, her business. The studio was hers, the idea was hers, the sweat was hers. No judge, she said, takes a woman's business away over a private mistake. A private mistake. 19 months, a hotel tab, and a jet ski. Then she got to the part that sounded rehearsed. She would be asking for the house because the studio's debt was tied to it, and she refused to be made homeless by my ego. She wanted spousal support too, because she gave up a sales career for this family. That sacrifice, she said, did not stop counting just because I was angry. And if I made this ugly, I would be the one explaining to our son why his mother had nothing. She moved to her sister's that weekend. Her answer came through a lawyer whose face is on a billboard by the outlet mall, and it asked for exactly what she promised: the house, periodic alimony, the studio shielded as her separate business, half my pension from the Marina Group. My lawyer looked it over and took the reading glasses off. Good, she said, entitled photographs terribly in front of this judge. Our son called me the night the news reached the family group chat. He asked one question: Dad, is it true about Mom and the studio guy? I told him it was. I told him the lawyers had the rest, and none of it was his to carry. He was quiet for a second. Then he asked if he could still come work the marina in the summer. Something in my chest clenched since the yellow envelope let go about halfway. 2 weeks later, her sister showed up at the marina at lunch. She stood between me and an outboard I had half torn down and asked me to be fair. Her sister made one mistake, she said. I was trying to erase 18 years over it. I asked her one question back. Did your sister tell you what the studio was paying for? Her face answered before she did. She left without the speech she came with, and nobody in that family argued the facts with me again. The months between filing and the end were mostly lawyers mailing paper back and forth. She and I did not speak. Her side's first move was an attack on the report itself, illegally obtained, invasion of privacy, the work of a stalker. It went nowhere. Every page came off public ground or out of public filings, which is what the retired cop had promised, and the client who paid for it was not me, which brought her lawyer around to the question my wife could not stop asking either: who paid for it? The answer arrived on deposition day in a conference room with bad coffee. My lawyer had noticed the investigator's client for her own deposition that morning, one door down. She was a fact witness in our case. The investigator's client was her business partner's wife, a small woman in a linen jacket, hair going gray and not fighting it. She had hired the firm months before my envelope ever arrived because her husband's gym schedule had stopped adding up. Her divorce was running inland while mine ran on the coast. 2 courthouses feeding on the same 41 pages. We spoke once in the hallway by the water fountain for about 20 seconds. You know the funny part, she said. I paid $6,000 for that report, and your wife got into it for free. Then she said, mine goes to trial in the fall. She walked back into her room, and I never saw her again. Keep her in mind. She comes back at the very end of this. My wife's deposition, per my lawyer, was the day her case died. She denied the cheating for the first half hour. Flat denials on the record her own lawyer was building. Then the hotel invoices came out, the studio card statements, her initials on the expense approvals. The denials became, I do not recall. She pivoted to the transfers, business expenses. Supplier relationships are complicated, so the accountant's exhibit came out. The supplier's mailing address is a rented mailbox at a shipping storefront, and the supplier's registration papers filed with the state carry an organizer's name. The name belonged to her business partner's grandmother, who died in 2009. Her lawyer requested a break at 10:50 in the morning. After lunch, they did not come back to the transfers or to much of anything. 3 weeks later, her side floated a settlement. She would drop the alimony request, generous of her. If the house sold, the studio stayed untouched, and the dissipation claim disappeared. My lawyer declined in one sentence. My client prefers the judge. Court, when it came, took a day and a half. I wrote the ending on the back of a parking receipt while the judge said it, and I still have the receipt. On alimony, the court found the marriage was ended by her adultery. It found her fully employable on a 15-year sales history. It awarded her nothing. Her lawyer had opened with that word. My client is entitled to support that reflects 18 years of partnership. The judge handed the word back in the ruling, and the room went very quiet when he did. As to spousal support, she is entitled to what her own choices have left her. The request is denied. On property, the judge went through the dissipation factor out loud. Then he went down the exhibit line by line and totaled it. $61,400. Every dollar of it spent in furtherance of the affair, charged in full against her share of the estate. The house came to me, whole. The studio's line of credit, the $48,000 I signed for outside the bank, was ordered refinanced out of my name within 90 days. Contempt was waiting if she let it lapse. Her share of everything left after the clawback and the debt came to $12,000 and change. 18 years. She left the courtroom with less than the sticker price of a used pontoon. One more line from the courthouse before the ending, because it matters to the arithmetic. My pension stayed mine, untouched, every year of it, and her billboard lawyer quit the case 9 days after the ruling. His withdrawal filing gave the reason in lawyer words, non-payment. The man billed her through a lost cause to the last hour. When the ruling landed, she could not pay the person who helped her lose it. She missed the 90-day refinance deadline. For the record, her sister ended up co-signing on day 108 after my lawyer filed for contempt, which means her sister's name is now on the debt from the affair she defended at my marina, and the studio itself, the thing she burned all of it down for, was already dying. An hour inland, the linen jacket trial had frozen her business partner's assets. His half of the studio froze with them, and rent 2 blocks off a beach highway does not wait on anyone's trial calendar. The doors closed for good in February. The pink neon sign with her name in script went dark over the front desk. So count it with me. The alimony gone before it existed. The house mine. The studio dark. Her share, 12 grand. The debt hers, with her sister chained to it, and the man. When his own divorce finished gutting him that fall, he moved into his brother's place 3 states away, alone. Her sister told our son told me. I said something kind, hung up, and made a pot of coffee. Now the ending I promised you. In the spring, my lawyer's paralegal flagged a notice filed publicly in the business partner's case. What was left of the studio was going to a liquidation auction run by a court-appointed receiver, folding tables of yoga blocks and juice coolers in an empty storefront, 50 people with numbered paddles. I went. I will not dress it up. I wanted to see it with my 2 eyes. The auctioneer worked fast. A minute a lot. Next item, keep it moving. The juice cooler went to a taco stand for $45. The retail shelving went to a vape shop. A box of branded water bottles, her logo on every one, went for $6. The man who bought them peeled the labels off in the parking lot while I watched. The equipment, the mirrors, the reformer machines, the racks, all sold in one lot to a phone bidder. The auctioneer's assistant let one detail slip. The phone bidder's area code was an hour inland. She reopened 8 weeks later, 2 blocks down the same beach highway. Her own name on the glass this time. I am told the morning classes run full. I am told a certain silver crossover slows down when it passes, most mornings before the light. Me, I bought exactly one item at that auction. Lot 41, as it happens. The pink neon sign. My ex-wife's name in glass script. The sign that cost our marriage $48,000. It cost me 40 even. It hangs in the break room at my marina, over the coffee pot, plugged in. It works better than anything else she ever bought. The mechanics all ask about it eventually. I tell the whole story on slow afternoons, and the new hires never believe the jet ski until the older guys back me up. My son came home in May with a semester of grades I taped to the refrigerator door, same as when he was 9. Weekend mornings, he is at the marina with me now, learning fuel systems, drinking break room coffee under his mother's name in pink neon. He knows the story. He chose the mornings anyway. His mother rents a room from her sister and manages a front desk out by the interstate exits. Not that hotel, but I did check. See you in the next one.